A roguelike side-scroller beat-em-up? Okay, yeah, you sold me on this one. This is just a list of all my favorite genres of games to describe a single game. Absolum was developed by dotemu, Guard Crush Games, and Supermonks, with dotemu publishing on October 9th, 2025 for the PlayStation 4 and 5, Nintendo Switch, and Windows platforms. The game takes place in the world of Talamh, a fantasy world filled with magic, thieves, and all kinds of different species of inhabitants, where a tyrannical ruler by the name of Azra has decimated the land and keeps its citizens under his control, going by the name of the Sun King Azra. You can take control of 4 different warriors with different fighting styles to take on the Sun King and end his dominance of the land. Of these warriors, you can pick Galandra, who is an elf warrior that uses a giant sword to slice through opponents. Using special magic, she can enhance her sword, like sending waves of magical energy toward her enemies. And there's also Carl, a dwarven warrior who uses his fists and a blunderbuss to blast through his foes. With a collection of different bullets, he can fire to rip through enemies like grenades or torrents of fire. And as you progress through the game, you'll come across 2 more characters you can choose. Like Cinder, an assassin who has enhanced their body with robotic parts, allowing them to outreach their arm to grab opponents and spin a hidden blade attacking foes. With their special abilities focused on laying traps or throwing a series of knives at anyone daring enough to get in their way. And finally, there's Brome, a frog with arcane and magical powers that uses their magical staff and tongue to combat enemies, with him conjuring deadly magic to go up against the forces of the Sun King. Once you selected your character, you can start a run, which will teleport you to the starting area of Talamh. From here, each area of the map is split into different sections or key points in the map that you can navigate through, with most of these sections having enemies you need to take down to proceed. Once you've beaten all the enemies, you're given a reward in the form of coins you can spend at the shop, which you'll come across during that run, crystals you can use to upgrade your characters and stats for future runs when back at the home base, or relics that give you special abilities for that run, like fire that can hurt enemies or bubbles of wire that can encase your enemies when you hit them with a combo. Then you keep going until you hit a section with branching paths that'll take you to different areas to explore, with each area having their own biome filled with enemies and local civilians you run into. As well, each area has their own set of mini-bosses that you'll run into, which when you defeat them, you'll be given a choice of character-specific upgrades that you'll take with you on the rest of your run, and paths that will merge from other paths to go on a single destination, all linked to the final encounter with Azra the Sun King. But don't expect to get there on your first try. As is the goal with most roguelike games, the idea is just to get as far as you can, until you die and get sent back to home base, where you'll be rewarded with different currency you can use to unlock new abilities for the characters, and use the crystals from previous runs to give yourself generic upgrades like additional health or additional damage on thrown items, with these upgrades following you for all future runs. And when you have everything upgraded and ready to go, it's time to start the next run and see how much further you can get. Then when you finally make it to the Sun King, you're in for a pretty major battle with all the upgrades you collected along the way, and you can finally free the land with the Sun King vanquished. But the game's not over yet, as once you defeat Azra the Sun King, the world starts to go into even more chaos, with portals opening up that randomly spawn enemies in areas that previously they weren't before, all leading to a final battle to calm the lands once more. Overall, the story of Absolum is a lot of fun, with different characters and stories you'll come across, especially since the game has a rotation of random events that can occur at any point, like running into new NPCs that will request your help along routes you've previously taken, that can give you hints and tips for other paths that you can take. And it gets to the point where you start planning out the path you're going to hit to maximize the stuff you can collect on your way to Azra. As with most roguelike games, everything you get during the run is random, with you creating new strategies and building your character up with what you're given. And it handles those elements exactly how I love in these kind of games. The beat 'em up and roguelike formulas pair so well together. The developers behind Absolum got everything just right for this one. And then the art and style of this game is just so fantastic looking. While looking very simple and using bright and vibrant color palettes, there is so much detail in the characters, enemies, and backgrounds. And each section of the map looks completely different, with even sections of the same area all feeling unique. To the point that after a couple runs, I could tell exactly where I was in the path based on what the section looked like. And I put quite a few hours into this one, jumping on to see how far I could get with a quick run, or trying a new character and a new strategy and going as far as I could. It's the perfect kind of game for those game sessions where you just want to be able to jump into it and have fun, playing a quick run at the game and then setting it aside to come back to later to try again when you die. And the fact that every run helps you progress further and get better just makes death not feel like a loss, but the chance to start it again. But this time better. At least, hopefully better than last time, as that's not always the case. Overall, I give Absolum a 5 out of 5. This game was a ton of fun to play, and one I expect to come back to plenty more in the future. It's some of my favorite genres of games, all mixed into one. I'm a huge fan of roguelike games, and finding the best way to break the game in the most fun way possible. In Absolum, I found my personal favorite gameplay style was focusing on thrown items, with abilities that make more show up when thrown, having more throwable items appear with crits, or making it so you can just throw coins. Focusing on stacking up as many of the combos and items that I can for throwable items. It makes the game crazily fun to find these different strategies and go all in on them to see how well they do. Back in October of last year, Mike and I actually played the demo for this game prior to its release here on Bickering Nerds. And I fell in love with the game back then and just the small little bit that the demo showed off. And I can say the full game is absolutely everything the demo gives, and it's so much more to make it as perfect as it can be. So if this game sounds fun to you, check out the demo. If you like the demo, I'm sure you're gonna like the full game as well. But hey, let us know in the comments what you thought of the game. And if you like this review and want to see more, click that subscribe button. If you have suggestions for other games you think we should play, let us know as well. Until next time, this has been Brad with the Bickering Nerds.